Hey artists, I'm just gonna go over how to glaze your ceramic project when you're finished. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna locate your piece on the shelves. Take your piece, right? And then you're going to sit at the table of the color that you're gonna use. So I'm gonna start off with my brown first because I have one more layer to do to finish up from yesterday. So I'm gonna sit at the table where it's brown, and then I'm gonna go find my glaze. All right, so over here's all of our glazes. You're gonna find what color you wanna use and make sure that it matches the color in the back. So I'm using Copper Adventure to start, and then I'm gonna grab a brush. So you can use one of the bigger brushes if you have something bigger to do. But for right now, I'm gonna use a smaller brush because mine is a little bit of a small detail. All right, so you wanna make sure that you shake it up, and then you're gonna head to your table and you're ready to get started. All right, so glazing really makes or breaks your piece. If you do a really nice job on glazing, your piece is gonna look awesome. But if you don't take your time, understand how many layers or coats you're doing, it's really gonna break your piece. Like, it's not gonna be really good when it turns out. So if you're not paying attention and you say you only do one layer of a coat of a color, it is almost see-through, super streaky. And then this is what it really should look like. So it should look like this for sapphire blue instead of this. So see how it's such a difference between one layer and 3 coats. Also, even with underglazes, it turns out really streaky. So you have to make sure that you know where you're starting and stopping. Go around your piece and count your layers. So again, you're gonna shake up your glaze that you're using. Might be a little chunky and that's okay. And then you're just gonna keep dipping your paintbrush in the glaze and just go ahead and paint around the area that you're doing. So I'm gonna stick with one color at a time, make sure I do all 3 of my layers, let them dry in between, and then go on to the next color. So you really wanna take your time with this. If you paint in the wrong spot, you might have to take a wet paper towel and wipe it off. But if you do that, you cannot glaze over that spot today. What happens is if you don't let your piece dry all the way, and then you decide to glaze over it in the kiln, even if I wait till next week to turn it on, the glaze actually pops off. So it makes it not a good fit because it wasn't fully dry, so it pops the glaze off. So you wanna make sure that you just take your time, but if you do make a mistake, use a wet paper towel and then paint that part the following class period. I wouldn't paint it right away, the same class period. All right, so I'm just about done. This is my 3rd coat of this color, and then I'm gonna switch colors and paint the rest of my piece here. All right, now that I'm all finished, I'm just gonna scrape off my brush so I don't have that much to clean up. Put the cap back on, put this away, go clean off my brush, and then start with my next color. So I'm setting my glaze right back where I got it, and then I'm gonna take my brush to the sink, and you're gonna clean that off. You can use the same brush for the next part, or maybe you need a bigger brush so you could change brushes, but it's nice to just get rid of the brush while you have it. So you're just gonna turn on the water, run your hand under the water, and then just tickle your hand until all of the glaze comes out of there. All right, and you also wanna clean the sides of your brush too, because all of that wet glaze is gonna get on someone else's brush. So it gets on all the brushes. All right, so that's clean. And then I'm just gonna make sure that this goes back in the small jar because there's 2 different jars. And then I'm gonna pick up a big one because my next part is pretty big. I'm gonna use opaque white, okay, they match. Go on to my next table. So I have to sit at the table that has white, and I'll go ahead and glaze this 3 times too. When you're finished, you're gonna go ahead and just put it right back on the shelf that you got it from. All right, and then start cleaning up your table, just as you would if you use clay.